Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And welcome into Life Planning 101 on KTX KWBY. Terry Slavens with you, and Angela Robinson back with us. I haven't seen you in a while, Angela.
I know. It's been a couple weeks.
But we're back. And you picked a really not very interesting topic today.
No, it's not interesting at all, is it?
Taxes, the election, and the market.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about that for several weeks or months, actually, saying things aren't going to get normal again until after November 8th.
That's right.
Praise the Lord, we are 4 weeks away.
I know, right? We're getting closer every day. Yeah. We couldn't have picked any more hot topics, that's for sure. I mean, everybody is filing taxes right now. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had over the last 2 weeks about how can I get my taxes lower for this year?
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's no wonder. I actually found a statistic. This is unbelievable. You can Google this and find this out. Tax revenue for the federal government has increased over $1.2 trillion per year since 2009.
Wow.
7 years ago, okay? A lot of people say, well, that's post-recession. It probably took a big dip, and it did. But even still pre-recession in 2007, it's still increased by almost over $1 trillion. So not much far off from that. And
so why are we still in debt?
I know, right? Yeah, and that's why everybody's saying taxes haven't been as high as they've been in 30 years. And I, sat there and listened to the debate last night, and I was hearing them talking about these middle class income earners that aren't getting hit, and I'm like, you're full of you know what? Because they are getting hit. We're dealing with it day in, day out. How do people get their taxes down? Interestingly enough, I thought it would be fun. This is just the geek I am, to go in and figure out what, a homeowner in Fort Worth, Texas, if they had $100,000 of income, would be paying in taxes, right? And let's just suppose that homeowner, they're making $100,000 a year, they spend $48,000 of it. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
So they spend $48,000 of it. They live in a $200,000 home. That's pretty modest in Fort Worth, right?
Yep.
Okay. Their average taxes would be about $38,000.
Wow.
$100,000 income earner. So you're telling me, government, that you're not hitting the middle class.
Yeah, and no way to save.
Yeah, that's right. That's 38%. Isn't that horrible?
That's terrible.
Yes. So we're going to talk about taxes today, okay? Also have some really fun little surprises for you. We've got the election coming up. I was on a conference call on Friday with who is supposedly the most sought-after speaker on all things politics, according to CNBC. His name is Andy Friedman. And he gave some insight into this election. And I want to share that because this was it might be depressing. And I'm just going to tell you that up front. But it's things you need to be watching for and what you need to kind of know. And then what to expect with the markets and things as we go forward, depending on who gets elected.
Right.
So we got some big stuff to cover today. And then to the end of our show, we're going to have Aaron come in and talk to us about what is going on in the markets. So full impact. You don't want to miss anything on here. But while we're at it, why don't you go ahead and tweet us at KFS Life Planning and let us know, do you think you are paying too much in taxes? We want to know yes or no. And I'm going to leave you with this before our break. I have a quote here from John F. Kennedy. This is unbelievable. He said, "The tax on capital gains directly affects investment decisions, the mobility and flow of risk capital, the ease or difficulty experienced by new ventures in obtaining capital, and thereby the strength and potential growth in the economy." John F. Kennedy, Democrat John F. Kennedy stated that. And here we are wanting to raise taxes on capital gains on everything, right? Everything. And that hinders growth in the economy. So keep that in mind throughout the show.
All right, we'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right after this. And welcome back in Life Planning 101 here on KTX KWBY. Taxes, the election, and the market.
Let's get back to business, literally, right? Taxes. And I tell you what, there's a lot of pressure to spend. And it's on both sides of the coin, no matter who this election winds up in, right? We got Trump wanting to build a wall bridges, airports, all these things updated. And then Hillary wants to spend taxes on more healthcare, more regulation, and then infrastructure as well. So you've got a lot of pressure to spend. And where does the money gonna come from, right? Well, the ultimate answer is revenue, tax revenue. So, but here's the thing, and I want you to realize I am an American, and I pay my taxes. And I want to pay my fair share in taxes as long as they're used wisely. Now, when they get to the point that's kind of ridiculous, it makes me sick, I will admit. But, as long as they're using that wisely, I want to pay my fair share. However, no more than that. And taxes are voluntary. And here's what a lot of people forget to understand, that, as an employer, if you choose to employ somebody, you pay less in taxes. But guess what you're doing? You're helping grow the economy by employing someone else. That's the way the tax system was built originally to work, is to promote small businesses, promote medium, even corporations. It was built to promote growth in our own economy here in the United States, not worldwide economy, right? Here in the United States. Protect us, take care of us. Okay, so here's just an example. The average business owner has 171 deductions available to him. I want you to guess how many the average business owner takes advantage of.
Probably 15, 20.
Good guess. 23.
Wow.
Out of 171 available to him. So if we're really going to use the tax code to its fullest, right?
Donald Trump uses it.
He does use it. He does use it. But and I get so frustrated when I hear them talking about that, because he's been a successful business owner, right? And I'm not saying pro Trump, pro Hillary, whatever. He's been a successful business owner. He's used the tax code the way it's supposed to be used to be able to promote his business growth.
As long as it's legal.
That's right, and promote the economy. And there's plenty of things that are perfectly well written in the tax code to be able to do these things, and you should take advantage of. And, a lot of people say, well, why didn't my CPA say that? Why didn't my professional say that? Well, be honest with you, you shouldn't get upset with them. You hire them to prepare your returns and keep you out of hot water. You don't hire them to help you do tax planning. Admit it.
Right.
Okay? CPAs, accountants, admit it. That's what you do. That's your relationship at hand. How little do you really tell them? I mean, are you going in and spending 6-9 hours with them, periods of time, to be able to give them your full life story so they understand every nook and cranny to help you out?
Or do you take your shoebox full of receipts and say,
there you go. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, the thing is you've got to be able to take the time to do that. And, I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to kind of go back to like what I did, that geeky thing I told you about in the first segment of the show, where I added up my, taxes, or added up someone's taxes in Fort Worth and saw that a $100,000 income earner was paying 38% taxes.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Figure out what yours is. Add up all your sales tax based on what you spend. Add up your property tax. Add up your income tax. Add up everything that you're paying and see how much you're paying. And you tell me if you think that's a fair amount that you're paying, or should you be paying less? And if you think that it's a fair amount, great. If you think you should be paying less, let it be incentive to help you do some planning, because you have some time. It's not even the middle of October yet. Deadlines for filing is this week, right? For extensions.
Right.
And you got the rest of the year to get things in order so you don't have that huge tax bill the same way next year. Take advantage of it, right? I'm going to give you a couple little things as far as some tax tips to leave you with. One of my favorites, okay? There was a congressional extension that allows you to be able to send a required minimum distribution if you're over 70 directly to a charity, all right? Well, we did some research, and we found a great organization that you can actually set up a foundation for your family with little cost, okay? We're not talking you have to spend thousands or put millions in there to do this, okay?
Right.
So why not, if you're not using that IRA, you're going to donate money anyway, why don't you set up a gift that rather than gifts once, it gifts over and over and over again for 100 years, for 200 years. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome, right? The tax code allows you to do it. Not neat. Okay, what about this? Health savings accounts. I've mentioned this before on the show. They're my favorite vehicle out there. If you're in a high deductible healthcare plan, you need to be using these, because you can put in money and you defer the tax on it. You don't pay tax on it. As long as you pull it out for healthcare expenses, then it's tax-free. And the great thing about that is that you can actually leave it in there for your retirement, and trust me, okay, we work with a lot of retirees, you will use it, okay? So, it's a great place to put money because it goes in, tax-deferred, comes out tax-free. That's pretty cool when you use it right?
Right.
No other vehicle allows you to do that. Look for losses. We're going to have a lot of volatility in the market. Already have. When this volatility occurs, have your manager be looking to capture losses and reposition your money accordingly so that you can report those on your tax return. Max out your retirement plans. I was actually just at a seminar recently, and we went through a whole deal where I saw where a business owner, could put back $1 million into a retirement plan. Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Yes.
Lots of money.
Yes. Imagine deferring $1 million. And we wonder how Trump got away with all this, right? Okay, so that's what he's talking about. There's so many things in this tax code that you can utilize. You don't want to miss that stuff. That's too good. And take the time to do it. We're here, Eastland, Texas. It's local. This is what we do. We spend probably, I want to say, 70% of our time tax planning.
Really?
Yes. Because it's become ridiculous, whether it be estate taxes, income taxes, whatever it is. We're spending about 70% of our time working with their clients to be able to help lower their taxes.
And if you lower their taxes, that allows more money
to
invest.
Save. That's right. Yeah, you save for yourself, for your future. Pay yourself first. And the government wants you to do it. They actually give you incentive to do it. It just takes a little effort on your part to learn what you should be doing, right?
Right.
It's very important. So let's get to some of this candidate stuff because I don't want to run out of time here. This is really, really good. So Andy Friedman, like I mentioned, CNBC calls him the most sought after speaker on all things political. And I'm just going to kind of sum up what I heard. He basically said the Republicans are going to keep the House probably for the next decade, if not for the next 20 years. So we can kind of expect that, which is good on one hand, right? Maybe bad on some other hands. I'll explain that in a minute. The Senate is going to be up in the air. There's 24 Republicans trying to hang on to their seats this year. Most likely, whatever the presidential election does is where the Senate will sway just because of that vote one party thing that people do on their ballot, right? Okay, so that's kind of what you can expect to see there. So whoever gets the president, that's where the Senate's going to go. The electoral vote is the primary thing here. Remember, popular vote really doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so, but that doesn't mean don't go to the polls, all right? You have to go because the electoral votes have to count for the number of popular votes. It's a weird contraption thing, but go vote. You have to vote. But going in, Hillary is going to have 257 electoral votes. Trump is going to have 191. See the discrepancy there. This means that Trump has to win North Carolina, Florida, Ohio, and Virginia, all 4 of them. If he misses one, he doesn't get the election.
And this is according to Mr. Friedman.
This is according to Mr. Friedman. Now, here's full disclosure. Mr. Friedman a year ago said Trump will never get the primary election.
So did I.
Yeah, so anyway, but you have to realize he's got to get all 4 of those to carry the electoral vote. It's very, very important. And I'm telling you what, there's a long struggle. Going back to Romney actually won 59% of the white vote. And if Trump gets the same thing there, he's going to need 30% of the non-white vote. He has a 70% unfavorable rating right now across the board. If he only gets, if he only gets 17% of the non-white vote like Romney did, that's what Romney got. He needs 65% of the white vote. So he's got a long way to go to be able to get this. It's going to be a very tough election for him. But here's some things to watch in the meantimes. The debates, we saw one last night. If he makes Hillary struggle, like he did in the primaries, that's how he got the primaries, is he made all these guys look bad, right? And if he can make her do that, then there's that. And then the polls in the toss-up states that we talked about, those 4 states, be watching those. There's a great website I go to. It's called Real Clear Politics, and it actually gives you daily polls, and you can see all of that. I really love it. Okay, but let's get to after the election on who's who, because this is what's important. If Hillary gets in, basically you're going to have a House that's Republican, Senate, and her that's Democrat. We're in gridlock. It's going to stay the same. Nothing's going to happen. Good for the markets. Nothing, it means stability. Stability means we know what to expect. We know what to expect means market's happy. Okay, so that's kind of a good way to look at it. All right, Trump gets in, we don't know what to expect. Volatility is going to occur in the markets. That's what you can count on. They are going to spend more in the military. He wants to cut taxes. If he gets the Senate, the House, and the presidency, that is going to happen. Our national debt is going to rise temporarily before the economy is stimulated. Okay, then it's going to become a wonder of how are we going to get that back? So they're going to start closing loopholes, such as stretch IRAs, all the estate planning loopholes, those types of things. He talked a little bit about that last night, is closing loopholes. So he's already kind of leaning that way, and you can see that. So that's something to be watching for. And, but the thing is he's going to try to stimulate growth via business owner trying to hire more employees. That's his technique. So it's going to take a little time. And what I call that is ripping off a Band-Aid. It's going to hurt for a moment, but then it's going to get better. So either way, we're going to go through some struggles, and I think it's just depending on what what your feelings are. And when Aaron gets in here, you're going to love hearing what he has to say. That's kind of going to correspond to this with the markets. You don't want to miss it when we come back.
All right, more Life Planning 101 right after this. And welcome back in Life Planning 101. Aaron Kennedy joins us now with Angela Robinson, and Aaron, your sister just really came in guns firing this morning. Taxes, the election, and the market. That's what you're here to talk about.
That's right. That's exciting. So, Aaron, thank you so much for
Very
joining
exciting.
us. Again, Aaron Kennedy, Charter Financial Analyst here at Kennedy Financial Services. All things market. We were talking about all things politics earlier, all things market. Aaron, what you got for us today? We got a lot going on. Big bull market started up this morning.
Yes, market is up this morning, and that's a positive thing. I think last week it was first negative week in 3 weeks, so it's good to see some green this morning. And overall this year it's been crazy. It's been up so much and down so much, and people are terrified with everything going on, especially this election and how it's going to affect our country. And it's just a really scary time. I've been getting more calls from clients, and not your typical, the market's going down, let's go to cash. It's more, the market's going down, let's build a bunker and let's put an airtight system in it because the world's going to end. And, that's scary for me because people are really messing up their retirement plans or their savings just because they are so scared, and it's just sad.
Yeah, and I know we've talked a lot about that, and I think going back to what we were talking about earlier, we were talking about how if Hillary gets in, basically we're still in gridlock, so the market's like that because they know kind of what to expect. I mean, there's nothing to expect, so they know what to expect, and the markets get uncertain when there's uncertainty, which Trump brings to the table. And it's interesting to me because as we think about business owners, we think about why do business owners become successful? It's because they take risks. And if they don't take risk, what happens?
If you don't take risks, you don't grow, you don't prosper, nothing good happens.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, here we are. We have the market's liking the idea that there's no risk. It gets uncertain when there is risk. And we as human beings, our human behavior says, in one sense, I don't know what I want. Right? Because it is confusing times, because there is so much uncertainty out there socially. But we've got to look at the basic economics of things. And I think that's what's most important here. And Aaron, can you kind of give us some insight into what you're seeing with the economics of not only our country, but the world today? Because I think that's the basis for the market. It is the basis for the market.
It is. And once you get back to basic economics, all it basically is supply and demand. Everything from a stock going up to a company going up to sales going up, it's always supply and demand. So all this certainty in the market, it doesn't really matter who gets in office. Is it going to be Hillary? It doesn't matter. Is it going to be Trump? It doesn't matter. It's who is going to get demand going in our economy the most efficient way. Because even if we get demand going, if sales start going up in our country, if companies start to spend, if it's not the most efficient way, we'll send our money somewhere else. If they're doing it better in India, we'll send our money there. Recently, we've been doing it better here in the U.S., so that's why our stock market's been going up. But either way, the biggest problem we have when it comes to supply and demand, not only in our stock market but our economy, is companies are not spending. Companies are not spending at all.
Right.
That we're not getting any new factories. We're not spending on infrastructure. And why is that? It's just that people are so scared. Not people. Companies are so scared of their future cash flows.
Regulation. Taxes, those types of things, right?
If it's going to cost you an extra $100 to make $1, people don't invest.
Right.
And I don't care if that's extra health care, extra regulations. You just don't do it. You actually put extra money in your pocket by not growing.
That's right.
And that is the demise of the economy right there.
And I tell you what, one thing that we've been doing, because we look at Japan, it's a country that hasn't grown for, 15 years now. Is it 15 years going steady?
30.
30, well, yeah, 30 years. They've been going negatively in interest rates and everything else in their markets. Horrible. Okay, so you look at that and you wonder, how do you get around that? And that's what we're trying to build, because we know, every analytical person out there is telling us we're going to be in gridlock for the next 10, 20 years. And so what does that mean? Increased regulation, increased government, increased taxes, and exactly what you just talked about, Aaron. And if that's the case, that's how we're building the portfolios, is to protect from that. We've got some great tools that help people protect them from the downside. And I think that's, what you need to be working with your advisor about right now, is not about going to cash and being scared, but what do I need to do to protect myself? Because on the flip side of that, what's that one thing we always talk about on the show? Inflation.
Yeah.
Right? You got to beat 4%.
Right.
You got to beat 4%. And how are you going to do that?
And you're not going to do it at the bank.
You aren't going to do it at the bank, and that's really important. So we are running out of time. I know, like I mentioned, that we're going to have some great shows coming up as we get nearer to this election, because I know a lot of people, like Aaron mentioned, are nervous, are a wreck about things, and we want to make sure that, we're right here for you. And if you've got questions, we've got a market commentary every week. Read it. We've got our weekly life lessons. Read it. Kennedy-financial.com. Re-listen to the show. Call us. Do what you need to do, but protect yourself. Take care of your future, and don't let these things scare you out of your pants, because unless the world is ending tomorrow, we've got to protect for tomorrow. And
no one knows if that's happening or not.
That's right. That's right. We thank everyone for listening to the show. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services. Aaron, thank you so much for being on the show. Aaron Kennedy, Chartered Financial Analyst with Kennedy Financial Services. We hope everyone has a great week. God bless, and go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.